So local storage is a way of storing data permanently for your website or mobile app on the user's computer or phone. It's pretty easy to use, and I'm just going to get rid of all our code here to avoid any confusion, because what we're doing here is not unique to app.js by any means, but I am going to keep the zepto.js so that we can use the jQuery features. There we go. So let's just shut down that, and that should be close script with a type of text JavaScript. All right, so the first thing that you should do before using local storage is check that the browser supports it, because some browsers don't, and you don't want to be assuming that your user's browser does and then have your app not work properly. So we check that it works using if and then type of, and then we look at the storage variable, and if that's not equal to undefined, then we're good to go. So for now we'll just alert local storage is go. And if it's not supported, then you might want to alert something. Please upgrade your browser, or something like that, to let the user know that the local storage features of your app are not going to work. So let's have a look. Local storage is go. Fantastic. That should certainly be the case for pretty much any modern browser that you use. So then how do we use local storage? As I say, it's pretty straightforward. To save an item in local storage, we just use set item. So local storage with a capital S dot set item, and then we might want to set the user's name to be Rob. Simple as that. And then if we want to get it back, we just use local storage dot get item and then name. So let's take a look. That should alert Rob. That's great, but it's nothing too special until we comment out that first line, and then we run the app again, and it still knows who I am. And indeed, we can even shut the browser tab down, open it up again, and it still knows who I am. So this is really permanent storage, unless your user actively cleans their browser cache, which they can't actually do. If you're working in a mobile app anyway, then you really can assume that this is permanent storage. So that's pretty much all there is to it, except you might want to store arrays in local storage. And that's not that straightforward. So I'm going to set you a challenge to go online and figure out how to store and retrieve an array in local storage. Go for it. Okay, hope you managed it. Let's do a quick Google. So I'd go for something like local storage save array. And here we go. JavaScript, how to store an array in local storage. So local storage only supports strings. So we'd need to essentially convert our array to JSON and convert it back in order to save it in local storage. So this looks pretty good. Let's use this code. So I'll comment out both of those lines. So we're setting up an empty array called names, and then we're creating a prompt that we haven't actually used before, but this is just like an alert, but it allows the user to enter some data, and it sets that equal to the first item in the array. And then it sets the item names within local storage to a JSON version of the array names. And then to get it back, we use stored names, JSON parse, so that converts it from JSON to an array. And then we just use local storage, get item, and then the JSON code of names. And then to check that that's worked, let's alert names 0. So that should be equal to the name that I'm just about to enter. Okay, here we go. So let's have a different name just for fun. So Kirsten, and then it's saved it as Kirsten there. And then let's just alert stored names 0, just to prove to ourselves that we have indeed got an array here and that the 0th value is what I'm just about to enter. So let's have a look. I'll put in Kirsten, and there we go. That's looking promising. But of course, the real proof of the pudding is that if we comment out the code to save the array and we just retrieve it, we still get the data back. Wonderful. So that's how we use local storage to save and retrieve variables and arrays. We are now in our position to create our email client app.